Welcome to third quarter week 1 and today's topic I am going to discuss 3 lessons for this week. First, visualizing percent and its relationship to fractions, ratios, and decimal numbers using models. Second, defining percentage, rate, or percent and base. And third, identifying the base, percentage, and rate in a problem. Pero bago ko simulan, narito na ang ating answer key sa nakaraang episode natin about Mathematics 5 Intervention. Kung hindi nyo pa napanood, balikan nyo ang mga uploaded videos ko and look for Mathematics 5 Intervention. Check now your answers. For number 1, addition of mixed fractions, the answer is 6 and 7 over 20. For number 2, subtraction of mixed fractions with regrouping. So the answer is 7 and 59 over 72. For number 3, addition and subtraction of whole numbers. So the answer is 6,772. For number 4, finding the missing term in a proportion. So the answer is 100 pesos. And for number 5, also finding the missing term in a proportion. So the answer is 16 blue cars. Congratulations to those who got a perfect score. And later, I will be featuring the learner of the week who accepted the challenge to answer our last activity in the intervention. Abangan kung sino siya. Kaya't kung gusto nyo maging learner of the week, sagutin nyo lang ang ating Math Try Nga! At kapag ikaw ang naunang nakakuha ng perfect score, ikaw ang ating learner of the week! Kaya't makinig na't matuto kay Maestro Olaso. And let's start now our first lesson on visualizing percent and its relationship to fractions, ratios, decimal numbers using models. Now, take a look at this illustration. As you can see, we have a big whole square divided into how many square parts? Yes, there are 100 square parts. Let's use the figure to visualize the fraction, decimal, ratio. Of course, our new lesson is about percent. By the way, alam mo na ba kung anong ibig sabihin ng percent? Percent comes from the Latin term percentum. Let's go back to fraction. Dito muna tayo sa fraction, babalikan natin ang percent. We know that fraction is only part of a whole. What do you think is the fractional part of the figure? Out of 100, itong mga shaded ang ating kinuha. So, out of 100 small squares, there were 50 squares were taken. So, we have 50 over 100. Right. So we read as 50 hundredths. Now, is that already in lowest term? No. So by dividing both the numerator and the denominator by their greatest common factor or GCF, ano kaya ang GCF ng 50 and 100? Yes, it's 50. 50 divided by 50, 100 divided by 50. So the lowest term is 1/2. Let's proceed to decimal. Again, decimal number is a number subdivided into tenth, hundredth, thousand, and so on. Meaning, in order to change a number into a decimal number, you need to know the fractional part based by the denominator of 10, 100, or even 1000. Since we have already answered that the figure is 50 out of 100, which means it is also equal to 50 hundredths. Di ba? Pag pinasa natin yan, it is also 50 hundredths. Or kapag tinanggal natin ang 0, it is also equal to 5 tenths. Kakaintindihan? Pag decimal, dapat kunin mo yung figure out of 100 or out of 10 muna, out of 100, kung hindi pwede, out of 1,000. Then, let's identify now the figure in ratio form. Again, ratio is the relationship in quantity, amount, or size between two things and can be written in fraction form. So, ano lang gagawin natin? Let us just change the fraction form into the column form so that we get now the ratio of the figure. That's why the figure is 50 is to 100 or equal to 1 is to 2 as the lowest term. And we have now the another form which is percent. Again, when we say percent, it is related also to 100. Out of 100, only 50 were taken in the figure. So we have now the answer that the figure shows 50%. Well, madali lamang pag ina-identify natin o chine-change natin ang percent given na ang decimal. Balik tayo doon sa decimal. For example, we get now the decimal of the figure. We have 50 hundredths. So in order to get the percent in the decimal form, you just move the decimal point two places to the right. So pag nilaw natin yung point na yan, 1, 2, nandito na yung point. Kaya naging 50, lagyan lang natin ng symbol 50%. Ganun din, for example, the given is percent, 50%. Then you want to get the decimal number of 50%, you just move, reverse. Kung nandito yung point ng whole number na 50, i-move na natin yan two decimal places to the left, two places para makuha natin yung decimal. So si decimal at si percent ay mas madaling i-transfer o i-change o i-translate natin kapag sila ay given parehas. Okay? So let's have another example. What if yung ating figure ay hindi over 100? Okay, what if we have this kind of situation or illustration? You have 4 donuts and you ate one out of it. What part have you eaten in fraction form, decimal form, ratio, and percent form? Simulan natin sa fraction form. What do you think is the fraction form out of 4? You got one of it. Therefore, we have 1 out of 4. So we have 1/4. Naiintindihan, napakasimple lang, no? Kapag fractional part. Now, what about the decimal form? In getting the decimal form of 1/4, di ba? Sabi natin pag decimal kailangan ang denominator ay maging 10, maging 100, maging 1,000. So, we will get now the equivalent of 1/4. So, ano ba ang equivalent ng 1/4? So, we will just think of a number na kapag minultiply natin sa 1 at saka sa 4, yung denominator niya ay magiging 100. Kung wala, divide mo lang. What is 100 divided by 4? So we have 25. So yun ang ating imumultiply. 1/4, let's multiply both by 25. It will make 25 over 100. Bakit minultiply sa 25? Para yung denominator ay maging 100. Eh paano kung hindi pwede sa 100? Think of a number na pwede sa 1,000. Okay, so since pwede na sa 100, so we have now 25 hundredths. Tama. 1/4 is also equal to 25 hundredths. Since ang ating denominator ay 100 na, so the decimal now of 1/4 is 0.25 or 25 hundredths. Okay. The other way to change 1/4 to decimal is to divide 1 by 4. Again, 1 divided by 4, try it in your scratch paper. 1 as the dividend divided by 4 as the divisor. So the answer is 0.25. Now, what is that in ratio form? Punta na tayo sa pangatlo. Just get the fraction form and change it in column form. Napakasimple na. Meron na tayong sagot sa fraction. So we will just change it to column form. So the answer is 1 is to 4. And to change it to percent form, babalik tayo doon sa fraction. Or we will go back to decimal, whatever, no? So out of 100, when you say percent per 100, out of 100, ilan ba ang kinuha? 25. So 2500 is also equivalent to 1/4. Therefore, we have now 25%. Okay? Or, punta sa decimal, move the decimal point 2 places to the right. 1, 2, kaya napunta dito sa right yung decimal point. So we have 25%. Okay, let's try one more example. Okay, this time, what if you have a one whole pizza divided by 8 pieces and you ate one of it? Let's identify again. You have one whole pizza divided into 8 and you ate, kinain mo yung isa. What is the fraction form? What is now the decimal form? Ratio and percent represents what you have eaten. So, ayan. Let's start with the fraction form. It's very simple. 1 out of 8, it is 1/8. Let's go to decimal. Hindi naman siya naka-10, naka-hundreds, at naka-thousand. So, we will think of a number na pwede nating i-change that into a denominator of 100. Meron ba? Wala. Kung hindi pwede sa 100, think of a number na pwede sa 1,000. So, think of a number to make a denominator of 1,000 kasi hindi siya pwede sa 100, di ba? So, kung wala kang maisip, divide mo 1,000 divided by 8, it is 125. Yes, yung 1/8, yung 1 and 8, you are going to multiply it by 125 para yung denominator ay maging 1,000. So we have now 125 over 1,000 or 125 thousands. So how do we write 125 thousands in decimal? So we have 0.125 or 125 thousands. Yes, nakuha ba? Now, for the ratio form, it's very easy. Look at the fraction form, then change it to column form. So we have 1 is to 8. Punta na tayo sa percent form. So out of 100, so hindi natin makita kanina kasi 8 ang denominator. So punta tayo sa decimal. Paano natin ma-change ang decimal to percent? Just move again the decimal point 2 places. Ayan. Kaya magiging 12.5% or 12 and 5/10%. Or yung buong pizza represents 100. I-divide mo yan sa 8, hindi yan exact. Kaya ang magiging sagot doon, 12.5. So, 1/8 is equal to 125,000 in decimal, 1 is to 8 in the ratio, and 12.5% in percent form. Nagkakaintindihan ba tayo dito? That is now the relationship of a fraction to decimal to ratio and percent. So palalimin pa natin. Let's go to our lesson number 2. It's all about defining percentage, rate, or percent. And base. Ano ba ang pagkakaiba ng tatlong ito? Kilalanin nating mabuti ang tatlong concepts na ito. Ayan. Let us use this sample problem or situation of Mr. Santos. Mr. Santos daw went to the shopping mall. Ayan, namasyal si Mr. Santos. He bought a suit worth 1,200 pesos with a discount of 30%. He was very happy because he saved 360 pesos. As you can see, I highlighted three given numbers. We have 1,200 pesos, 30%, and 360 pesos. Simulan natin. Ano nga ba ang ibig sabihin ng percentage? Percentage or letter P as the symbol is the number or the amount that represents a part or a portion of a whole. Please take note lang the clue word, part or a portion. Ibig sabihin niyan, bahagi lamang siya or part lang siya ng kabuuan. So among the three given numbers, alin dyan ang nagre-represent ng bahagi lamang ng kabuuan? Yes, we have now 360 pesos is the percentage. Okay? Now, let's do now the second concept or second term. We have the rate. Rate is the number compared to 100. It usually has either a percent sign or the word percent with it. Okay, may kasama siya laging percent symbol o kaya naman word na percent. Kung alin sa mga given ang may simbolo na percent sign or the word kung wala man siyang sign or may nakalagay na percent, that means yun ang tinatawag na rate or percent. So in our case here, in the situation, of course, rate there is 30%. Just a clarification of percent and percentage are different. Percentage is the result of the rate or percent of a certain number or amount. Yung rate naman ay yung kapareho ni percent. Sila yung magkapareho. Kasi common mistake or misconception yan ng lahat. Kaya be mindful of that. And we have now the last term which is base. Ito napakasimple lang. Base is the number that represents the whole or the entire amount. From the word, di ba, base, ito yung number or amount na pinagbabasehan o pinanggagalingan ng bahagi. So among the three given, we have 1,200 pesos is the base. Ayan. Hopefully, malinaw sa atin ang pagkakakilanlan ng percentage, rate or percent, and base. So, let's go now to lesson number 3. Okay? Lesson number 3, ayan, is about identifying the base, percentage, and rate in a problem. Well, we have done already the example for this since I gave already a problem or situation. Kaya familiar na sa inyo. But let's have more examples. Okay, our first situation again, or another situation or problem is that a survey conducted among 120 grade 5 pupils of Rizal Elementary School showed that 40% like swimming. They found that 48 pupils like swimming. So yan ang ating situation. Based from what we have discussed, can you identify the percentage, rate, or percent, and base? Okay. Try to identify. Alin ba dyan ang percentage? Alin ba dyan ang rate? Alin ba dyan ang base? Are you ready now? Let's start with percentage. Percentage is 48 because 48 is only part of 120. Diba? What about the rate? It's very simple. It's 40%. And the base, of course, is 120. Did you have the same answers? Well, you are great. Therefore, please remember this, no? 40% of 120 is 48. So we have now percentage, we have the rate, and the base. Okay? Well, let's proceed to the next example. Our problem or situation is Carlo bought a toy car with 15% discount or 150 pesos. The toy car must have a tag price of 1,000 pesos. Well, let's find out which among the given numbers is percentage. Yes, what part or what portion of the whole is that? We have 150 is only part of 1,000 pesos. What about the rate or percent? Of course, we have 15%. And the base or the whole amount is 1,000 pesos. So remember this, 15% of 1,000 is 150 pesos. All right. Did you get the same answers? Well, congratulations! This time to test if you really learned in our lessons for week number 1. Get ready and say, Math Saingan! All right. Calling of you grade 5 learners, please type or comment on your answers in the comment sections of this episode. Just type your complete name, the name and location of your school, and your answer. Don't worry, there are 5 items to answer and you will choose only the letter of the correct answer. Again, you can pause the question if you want to read and understand it over and over again. Are you ready? Let's do math trying Alright, so handa na, paki-pause lang kung gusto nyong basahin ng paulit-ulit. Let's start with our first number. Number 1. What is 20% in decimal? Looking at the illustration, A. 2 tenths, B. 2 hundredths, C. 22 hundredths, D. 2 thousandths. Alright, number 2. Convert 5 is to 10 into percent. Using the illustration, what do you think is that? A. 5%, B. 55%, C. 50%, D. 0.50 or 50 hundredths percent. Number 3. Which of the following refers to a specific part or portion of a number? A. Base, B. Percent, C. Percentage, D. Rate. Number 4. What is the percentage in the situation? Rosa has 450 pesos. She used 20% of it to buy a handkerchief. She bought the handkerchief for 90 pesos. Is it A. 20%, B. 90 pesos, C. 360 pesos, D. 450 pesos? And number 5, among the 1,250 pupils who attend the school, 6% are left-handed. There are 75 left-handed pupils. What is the base in the situation? A. 6%, B. 75, C. 1,175, D. 1,250. Ayan, so I think Kung hindi nyo pa nasagutan, go over again. But I think you have now your answer. Kindly comment it now and abangan baka kayo aking maging Learner of the Week sa susunod na episode. And before we finally end our episode, I would like to present to you our Learner of the Week. Alright, we have Learner of the Week, Gabe or Gab, I don't know, Gabe Angela Bianca C. De La Vega, a grade 5 learner of Moises Salvador Elementary School in Sampaloc, Manila. Thank you, Gabe Angela, and congratulations! Ayan, keep up your good attitude in answering the questions or problems in mathematics. Remember that the best way to learn is to apply what you have learned, and if you got mistake, it's not a problem. That is another way to learn. Again, shout out po sa inyong lahat na sumusuporta at nag-aabang ng aking mga episodes. Thank you very much po mga kaguro, mga magulang at mga mag-aaral mula Luzon hanggang sa Mindanao. And bago po ako matapos, please subscribe po the following YouTube channels ng aking mga kaibigang guro po from Qatar. Sila po ay mga magagaling na guro po dati ng Rizal Elementary School. We have Angela Argana, Lirio Dulay. Subscribe po natin and hit the bell button para po updated rin po kayo sa kanilang mga bagong videos. Shoutout rin kay Ma'am Rose Dimano. Siyempre kasama rin nila dyan sa Qatar. Hello po sa inyo dyan at ingat po kayo lagi. Ayan. And that concludes po our episode for the third quarter, week number 1. Again, maraming salamat po. See you in the next episode and always be happy learning!